My name is George A. Johnson Jr., and I'm listening to Wolf Entertainment Radio.
Now I'm feeling great, yeah. Living in the terror, I made my name, couldn't get any better. What's my name?
On this episode of What's My Name, we visit with jazz master George A. Johnson Jr., a third-generation drummer mentored by jazz greats Elvin Jones and Art Blakey. More than just a drummer who has performed with all the greats, he is also a band leader, composer, and occasional vocalist. He's literally played all over from Montreux to South Africa, as well as all over the U.S. You'd think a guy who has been playing professionally since 1965 at the age of 12 that he would have developed quite an ego. I found this to be refreshingly not the case. George is very approachable, and we had a great time talking about drums and music. Before our chat, though, let me first introduce you to one of my favorite George A. Johnson Jr. tracks, Bag's Groove. Pour yourself a glass of wine, maybe light up a cigar, and let's explore the musical world of a very cool cat, Mr. George A. Johnson Jr. We're here with the one and only George Johnson Jr. here, and let's discuss your name a little bit, because I understand there are other George Johnsons in the music business. What have you done to separate yourself from them?
Well, the first thing is that I have an A in my name. It's George A. Johnson Jr. That's one of the things that distinguishes me from the other George Johnsons, because if you go ahead and Google the name, it's a lot of George Johnsons. So I did that, and without thinking, there was a lot of George Johnsons. I'm a third-generation drummer. So that was my starting point from the beginning, playing with everybody. So to me, my name, I was the only George Johnson, so I played drums. But as time went on in the career, I saw that maybe I could do other things. So that allowed me to study myself, and what I didn't know, I had to study on my own to learn to be different. And maybe we'll get into a little of that. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I had to use the A. I had to have the distinction. So as we start to talk about my career, you see how it opened up from playing drums, which I love immensely, into other things to support the drums. But that's one of the things, the singing and writing music, and it's all very unique for a drummer, George A. Johnson Jr.
Nice. You mentioned that you're a third generation drummer, so rhythm is obviously in your DNA. So you obviously grew up around music. And
Yes, sir.
so do you have a lot of big musicians around the house, or?
Yeah, my grandfather played drums, of course, and marimba, xylophone, and my father played drums. And when I was very young, there's a place in New Jersey where it's African American and American Indian, and that's the first time I marched. So in other words, we marched in, it's called the Drum and Bugle Corps. So we marched, and that's where I think I got a lot of endurance. I actually, and this is a funny thing, you could train people with this too, man. I actually didn't know we were marching 5 miles, 10 miles. I didn't know. All I knew was I had to strap this drum on, and I had to make it as far as the band went. So what happened is I strapped the snare drum to my leg, and I found out I had to strap it because when it bounced, I got a big, wart. So I went and we marched and marched and marched, and then one day I said, man, this is like, it was summertime. I said, man, this is kind of long. And my dad laughed. He said, boy, you know what? I forgot to tell you. This was 10 miles. This parade was 10 miles long. I said, yeah, well, all of them are 10 miles? He said, no, some of them 5 miles. He said, but most of them are 10 miles. You've been walking 10 miles. I'm like, oh my God. So it's like a build-up. And I felt very blessed to have my parents actually initiate and run the Drum and Bugle Corps. And even the dress, what we wore, is still significant till today. It's a funny thing. I don't know why. But the generation that I'm in, I kind of feel like I elevated things just one more step.
So you started playing professionally at 12, and this is in 1965. So you've been around for quite a while.
Yeah. Some say older than dirt and twice as filthy. But I don't think I've been around quite that long. But I'm enjoying it too, because I think the very unique thing that I didn't realize is that if you take care of yourself, you have some sort of longevity. And I really didn't realize, because the drums is physical in the beginning, it's like a jungle gym, but it's physical in the beginning. And sometimes people don't realize, because they haven't done it, you have to balance a few things. Drummers actually are octopus. That's a funny thing to say, and people can laugh if you want to laugh. Your right foot is playing something, could be consistent, could not be. Your left foot is playing something different. Okay, I laugh because we do it, and then there's your left hand, which is doing something totally different, which is probably 2 and 4, and your right hand is playing eighth notes, or quarter notes, or 16th notes. So all 4 things are moving in different directions, coordinated and synced to what we call a 1. The 1, 2, 3, 4. We're doing things symmetrically synced.
And from what I know of drumming, you have a standard posture behind the drum kit, whereas you're not sitting on top of it, where some guys like Buddy Rich did a little bit. He had the snare tilted forward. You're more of a relaxed, in the pocket kind of drummer, sitting behind the kit.
Because it's a thing called, it's styles, okay? The style I learned was called Swiss. It's Swiss drumming. What designates Swiss drumming from, I'll call it matched drumming, is the left hand. In the left hand, with Swiss drumming, you get to use a different kind of finger control. And we'll get to that in a minute because that finger control we'll take it to a different level. But you have the drumstick, and you put the drumstick between your thumb and your index finger. And then you put the other piece between the second finger and the third finger. What you do is you balance that, and then you learn how to make it bounce. There's something called a fulcrum, which is between the thumb and the index finger. And you learn how to take the second space of the third finger, and you place the second space, counting from the inside of the hand, second space, and you put those two curved crevices on it, and then you put the index finger on it, and you learn how to make it bounce. That's the first step. Second step is controlling the bounce so you don't get a Charlie horse in your arm. When you use, don't, there's a joke about that. If you learn how to use that, you don't work hard because you can manipulate that so fast that you can do rudiments like paradiddle with one hand, and you can do different things with that hand. You can do a roll with the one hand. If you work that and get it and practice it enough that you can have it on a high level. There's a lot of things you can do with that hand with the manipulation of that Swiss technique. The match technique is on the right hand. That's what I call the match. So you turn your left hand over and you make it like your right hand. That's matched. Okay, it's your choice. They're both proficient. They're both fast because you're using finger control. If you learn it from Swiss drumming, you're using finger control on the right hand. The finger control is right hand and left hand, fulcrum on the right hand. If you count from your palm of your hand, you go, there's one division, and then there's a second division, and then your finger, and it curves. And then there's the third division, which has the fingernail on it. You want to put the stick in between in the middle, and you want to put the thumb on top of that stick. Then you want to wrap each of the tips where your fingernails are around the stick. You learn how to make it bounce with the fingers or the stick. So the stick's moving up and down, the fingers are moving up and down. When you're proficient at that particular technique, then you manipulate the bounce. You throw the stick down, the stick will come back if you hold the fulcrum loose enough so that you can ride the bounce. That's what the first part was about, ride the bounce. After you throw the stick down enough, your back fingers are riding it with the match grip. You start to throw it down harder, come back. Then after a while, you can throw it down and you can manipulate those last three fingers and stuff gets faster. When you hear guys playing like 200 clicks on the metronome or 230 clicks on the metronome, they've been playing so long that they're playing so fast because they don't feel it. The tempo for 5 to 10 minutes. You play with McCoy Tyner, you got to play that fast for 5 to 10 minutes. You got 7 guys playing all the notes and the air they possibly have. And then you play last. If you got any gas left, you play last. McCoy plays, and then we close down the show and go home. Hour and a half set, one song, Fly with the Wind. So it really helps. It really helps. Those finger techniques help to be able to keep a level. Because playing the drums, you have to balance physically. Then you have to go and do a thing that's very important. You have to have finesse. If you play too loud, you're fired. If you slow down because your muscles get tight, you're fired. If you play too fast because your muscles get tight, fired. You know, it's really a physical task. That's why I call it like an octopus. You're doing everything, but you're doing it really like a quiet fire. You see, what they say that they call it that the quiet fire. Where it's a lot. You're really doing a quiet fire, you know, and to concentrate and have dynamics. Whew, don't play loud.
I noticed a little bit with your technique. You like bringing your hands over your head before you hit the cymbals. Is that like? I know it's like letting music breathe, but is that like an extra half beat you're waiting there?
Sometimes I hit two cymbals at once. One is half a beat between. But what I'm doing is I'm hitting. I think you're talking about when I hit three. One, and then after you hit two, I'm bringing it over to hit three. And that's a visual thing also, because I got something to go along with that. But yeah, that's a visual thing, and that's a timing thing. That's very good. You looked at that. I'm impressed with that. I'm really impressed with that.
Thank you. Well, like I said, I've been around drums quite a while, so yeah, I noticed little stuff like that. But what makes a drummer a good band leader?
This is a funny thing, man. Really, like, I'm gonna get straight to the point. You have to use two ears and don't use your mouth. The whole time I was playing and learning everything and learning how to be a band leader, I didn't say anything. I watched, I listened, and I never ever kind of like challenged, because I'm a child. I'm a child musician. I started out 12 years old, and the law here is you just had to have your father with you. I played in all of the places with all of the older guys. All the people I played with and mentored are dead. They were that much older than me. It's a very intense, what do you call it, mentorship. But what you get out of it is, when I was working with different artists, I would write down different music, write down different scales. Come to find out, it was a whole other language, my man. They don't teach this anywhere. They may not even be teaching this in university unless they hired guys who have been mentored by the people with this language of bebop. It's a new language, man.
Right.
We went to places, and when I was entertainment, I was music director for Abdul Ibrahim. We went places and we did like workshops and seminars, and the guys would try to impress us, and it's not a bad thing, don't get me wrong, with A-Train. So Abdullah Ibrahim was discovered by Duke Ellington, so he knows A-Train. There's never been another piano player that Duke Ellington let play. But the reason was Duke Ellington wanted his wife. Satima B. Benjamin, she sang like a songbird. So she said, because they were exiled from South Africa, she said, you take me, you gotta take Abdullah too. And his Christian name is AKA Dollar Brandt, Adolfo Brandt. But, well, see, I met a sister and his family in South Africa, so I know, they told me. But that's what makes it, but you have to listen to all of the masters that you work with, all of the legends, because they have a different way of doing things and it's successful. That's how I did it.
Well, let's get into your music here a little bit, and the latest release that you have with Wolf Ear, Moving Meditations, and the song "The Last Rose." Man, what a beautiful horn melody. Now, as a drummer, how do you compose music? Do you also play other instruments?
Yes, I do. I play piano. I play I play a lot of instruments, but I play piano and I sing. And it really it makes it a lot easier. You have to play piano. So what happened is that I studied a lot of things I got from the artist, a lot of things from organ players, especially a lot of things from McCoy, a lot of things from Abdullah, and a few of the things that Wynton Marsalis does, because I admire the way he led a band and things he did. So I, incorporate every little something. But and what happens is the music, I was blessed with this one. Man, the music just really took off. But those melodies and the stuff that we're doing, altered chords and altered scales. In other words, you could play a song, I could play a scale, do the whole thing, and it wouldn't be, it'll be harmonic. It wouldn't be dissonant, one note, play right straight through. Whereas you're supposed to play one scale, play piece this one and that one, that, you know. So this is actually an advanced way of playing different kind of music. There's other kind of steps too, but that's just one. And I learned it with George Adams, was very key. And if you don't know about him, he played with McCoy, and he played with a lot of people. It's a whole way of thinking of the music, different roots, different way of setting up the chords. These guys play compassion. Abdul, we were performing, I think it was London, and these like soccer players came in with their girlfriends. Tough guys, great big dudes, man. And they said that the music touched them, and they'd never really cried, you know, in public when music was being played in front of the girlfriend. He said the music touched them in such a way that it kind of made them feel like rejoiced, and it touched them. They wanted to come backstage and tell us how much they liked the music. See, this is what the music is really supposed to do. You're not supposed to be sitting there with a question mark. You know, it's either good or bad. You either feel it or you don't feel it. But that's the ultimate. For you to play music and people to feel it, I think that's the biggest reward. I really do. So that's how I kind of like learn to write melodies like that, and to touch people is really incredible.
played with just about everybody in the genre and the big jazz festivals. But I understand that touring Africa was very special for you. You want to get into that? Where you even gave some classes to
Yes.
some children there?
Yeah, we did. We did classes in a lot of different, I guess you call it townships, Soweto, and we went up to Mabato. But it was really interesting, the South African trip. We were there 6 times, and we played with the National Symphony Orchestra. And this is the first time a black person's music was performed with the National Symphony Orchestra. And I got 7 guys to come down from New York soloists to play along with the orchestra. And man, it was magnificent. It was really powerful. And then I had 17 guys down there. We did big band down in South Africa also. And it's a whole thing. And it really opened up a different thing. Not just a quartet, or not just, it opened up the septet. So you hear more horns, you hear more color. You hear more compassion out of the chords from different instruments. So that's what it's interesting to me about using different configurations. The more I can use 6 pieces, 7 pieces, the better. And I'm trying to work on doing some of my pieces with an orchestra. A couple songs, Turquoise Ocean and Sitting by Waterfalls at the Full Moon, and Reawakening, and kind of make it like I have a suite, but I don't know exactly where that's at exactly, but I'm reaching out to some people, and we'll see what happens with that. But I got the idea from us performing in South Africa, and the way that the orchestra played the music that he wrote was like phenomenal. Because the beauty of the music and how it goes, his music is mostly South African folk songs, so it's very pretty, very simple, but very touching. So it was really a strong presence. We did it in Switzerland, Geneva, with conductor Griffith, and he's the conductor of the Geneva Symphony Orchestra. Man, I'll tell you, it really makes a difference to see the music on that level. It does. It really does. It's just touching. It's a lot more touching. But I like also appearing with the configuration of The Last Rose, because that configuration with the melody and everything is like, I really didn't know that it was going to be accepted. It was like 3,790 spins. It took it up to number 3 in the world. Man, that's a validation that you never think is going to happen with a jazz tune that's not vocals. And this is in the indie worldwide chart, and with rock and roll, R&B, reggae, easy listening. If you have it, bring it up. And it went that long. And what else was a blessing was that, well, double blessing, because I didn't really realize it was going to go that long. It went 14 weeks in the top 10, which is kind of unheard of. And even on my birthday, January 6th, that song was number 24. And that's incredible, that long. And it was released, I think it was August. The Wolfman released, I think it's August 30th. And it's still in the 20s. I was like really blessed, man. But see, that's why I'm happy. I did what I did and learned from the people I learned from. It was a great education and playing experience. Playing with these guys at those major festivals, Montreux Festival, Chicago Fest, man, and man, you name it, we did it. The Heritage Festival in New Orleans. Man, it was something else. It was something else again. And see, this is just spreading that kind of music and doing workshops, man, is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
We talked about being the first black performer at that festival in South Africa. You want to talk a little bit about racism and apartheid and how music can actually bring people together?
Yeah, man. It's a very powerful force, and I think it really helps. I hate the corner phrase. It helps to soothe all savage beasts. What happens is, when you start listening to music, there's all kinds of different music for all kinds of different people to soothe all kinds of different people. So, you need more music, and I think it would help you out. It's kind of like a thing of, you may not like each other, but you all like music. It's a funny thing. You can be racist, but you like the artist. You know, case in point, a good friend of mine said something funny to me, and we were at a recording session in Pennsylvania, and he said, you know, when I'm from the South, and he said, oh, okay. He said we wasn't allowed to listen to certain artists. He said, but my dad liked Ray Charles, so when Ray Charles died, he played nothing but Ray Charles. Well, you know, he said, but the thing of it is that Ray Charles was common, and it brought people together, whether it be in the South, so the same thing in South Africa. We played that music at that university, and we played it in the National Symphony Theater. Everybody was there, white and black people. For the first time, we're sitting shoulder to shoulder next to each other, and just like you said, that music brought everyone together. I think we should need more of that. You know, the Wolfman and Wolf Entertainment is working on a Wave of Love festival. He's already done it once. And it's 24 hours. Before he did it, 24 hours of beautiful music. All types from our company. And I'm telling you, man, the more people listen to listen to music continuously, they fall in love, they may not want to be so violent. I think it's extremely important. That was a big step in South Africa, but music is a big step to be acknowledged so far as bringing people together. Do you realize that music transcends language? I can take my music and go to a place where that they don't speak English, but they could play my music perfectly. Because it's a language of music. It brings people together. It's so, and see, I think it's so plain, it is really hard to see.
There are always tales from the road. What was the worst situation that you've had to play in?
Well, we were playing in Italy at this big theater, and they had, sometimes they have a drum set, so they wheel it out and they wheel it back. So we're playing on this thing, and McCoy's music is very energetic, strong, you got to play hard, So they didn't lock the wheels of the drums down. I didn't know that. So we're out there playing. Hey man, the drums kept getting closer and closer to McCoy. He don't like that, man. He didn't like that at all. The drums are closer, and the harder I played, the more the drums is inching over. And I was like, oh God, I hope you don't really flip out, man. So they came and got the drum, pulled the drums back, and they locked the drums. That was one of the funniest things. The people in the audience was cracking up too. Looking over at me through the piano, looking over at me, and I'm getting closer. I know my head's getting bigger, the cymbals are getting closer. Every time I hit a cymbal, I know it was a little bit louder. And okay, that was that time. Then another time, we were in Germany, and the guys really didn't speak that much English. But the two great big German guys were brothers, and they owned the tour bus. So they made a mistake. I don't know if they were using the GPS or what. They made a mistake and went down this one street, and they couldn't back up. They didn't know how to back a bus up, and so they could only go forward. So the guys are about maybe 6'4", 6 something like tall guys, thin. You wouldn't think this. So they get out the bus, they're speaking German real fast. We only could put stuff on one side of the bus because they had the other side of the bus filled up with German beer. That'll show you where they're at with their whole tour. And so we're looking, they're saying, what are these guys doing? We're trying to get to the hotel, man. Everybody's tired, we want to go to sleep. So they say, they get off the bus, and you know how the headlights, right? So we see these two German dudes. Man, I swear to you, these guys are picking up cars, taking them out of the street, and setting them on the side. You know how the steps are where you walk in the house? These guys are setting them sideways all the way down the street. These guys did this, man. They get in the bus, and then they drive the bus through, but they don't get out and fix the cars. They just keep right on going. Oh, man, we died. We died. And then there was the time that we were at the rest stop, going from Germany. I think we were going from Germany to Switzerland. I think it was Germany to Switzerland, or something like that. And we get on the Autobahn. It's early in the morning, and we all had that call. Okay, I put the calls in. Everybody gets a 6 o'clock call to be downstairs. That means you have to be downstairs. You had to eat your breakfast. You had to get your bags on the bus. You're responsible for that. Okay. So we're all on the bus. Everybody's half asleep. We ate some oatmeal, ate a piece of toast or something. Everybody, we think that Mr. Ibrahim is on the bus, but nobody says nothing, right? So the guy driving the bus, I told you these guys, he gets on the bus, he's half asleep. So he looks at the back, he said, everybody on bus? So I guess somebody said, yeah, I guess so. But, nobody checked. And I'm looking around, and I see all the band members, but I don't see Mr. Ibrahim. So we pull out on the Autobahn. They drive 200 miles an hour, right? And that ain't no joke. So we going down there, you hear the wheels. I'm sorry to laugh, man. Really, I am. So one of the guys gets up and goes back, and he looks and he goes, "Oh man, we left Mr. Ibrahim back at the hotel." So these guys have been practical joking, my man, right? So they go up to him and they say, "Hey, man, you have to turn around and go back." So he said, fans his hand at him. He figures they're messing. He said, "Man, you have to go back." No, Abdullah. No, Mr. Ibrahim on the bus.
Oh, no.
Hey, man. He did not believe. All you hear is, So we get to the next rest stop. This is how tired he was. He got up, and we pulled in the rest stop. He got up off the, out of the driver's seat. He walks back and looks under the mattress. This guy's like 6'2". He's a human being. He's not under the mattress and box spring. And you hear him in the back. He says, "Oh, no, Mr. Ibrahim." Man, we like to die. We was cracking up, man. So he got fined, and had to take a plane to get to the next gig in Switzerland. Oh, man, he was fit to be tied. So he got another bus. He got another bus service. He fired the guys. Man, look, I ain't never had no fun. I mean, we had some funny time, but that was like comical, man. Those guys lifted the cars. They left the band leader at the hotel. Oh man, it was hilarious, man. I mean, it was really a time and a half, man. That was comical. Oh God, it was funny.
You mentioned the Montreux Jazz Festival. Is there a regular lineup of people that you play with?
That's when I did the Montreux, I did it 4 times with 4 different people. I did it with Charles Earlham. I did it with McCoy Tyner. I did it with Lonnie Liston Smith and Lou Donaldson.
I was specifically talking about the song Joe Brown, which was live in Montreux. I could get lost in that forever.
That's a high-intensity tune. Oh, my God, that's a high-intensity tune. Now, I did it with different configurations. I did it also on a CD called Kings Without a Kingdom. And that song right there is one of the ones I'm talking about that's a fast, up-tempo song from start to finish. One thing about Charles, he's from South Philly. It was comical. We did the Montreux Festival. It's my first time out of the country. So we get up there, and we practiced. I mean, we practiced a long time over his house up there, Englewood, New Jersey. So we finally get to Switzerland. We get on the stage. He says, "Don't listen to what I say. When I kick the song off, you go for broke." He told everybody. So he gets out there messing around with the organ, right? He says, ladies and gentlemen, excuse me, we just want to, we just want to do a sound check if you don't mind. He said, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, I said, oh my God, man, they flipped out. And that was the whole way. That's a big surprise. That's a sound check, all right. We were burning like nobody's business, man. That's the essence of why American jazz is so wanted and it's so respected. It's cutting edge, it's compassionate, and it always has an overabundance of emotion. That comes from us living here and creating the music here. It's like having all the ingredients for a soup you can only make here. You know, they don't have cabbage over there in Japan. They got something called bok choy.
let's talk a little bit about your setup here. And at one time, I don't know if you still do, but when you were performing live a lot, you get a lot of endorsements. You had pasty cymbals, sonar drums, Aquarian drum heads, Capella drumsticks. I mean, what's involved in an endorsement for those who don't know?
That was an interesting question. Well, in I think it was 1971, I went to the 71 or 74 went to the Montreux Festival with Charles Earlin. And when he saw us set up, I didn't even know he was Mr. Pasties, the one who owned the company. So I had a cymbal. Hey man, you get what you can afford, and you pick out. We used to pick out cymbals in the pawn shops, and you play it and see if it was close enough. And I had this cymbal with a bite out of it. Man, it was the killing the swing of this cymbal. I'm gonna tell you right now. But it had a little, had some issues. And I had a whole nice set that I thought was cool. I was playing, and he walked up. He said, "Hey man," he said, "what's with the cymbal?" I said, "Oh, it's it sounded good, when I picked it out. What do you think?" He said, "Hey, look, I tell you, why don't you go downstairs? There's a whole setup of cymbals downstairs." He says, "You go down there, and you pick out the cymbals you want." He says, "And then you keep them." I said, "Yo, man, I'm going to tell you something, man. I don't have any money, okay? That's the reason I got to bite out this cymbal. That's all I could afford. I don't have any money. I can't pay you anything." He said, "You don't need money, man. Just go on down there, man." I said, "Man, what's wrong with you?" He said, look, you don't trust me?" He said, "Just go down there. You don't even believe there's cymbals down there, do you?" I said, "No." He said, "Just go down there. Go down there. Go down there. Just go." So I went down there. I said, "Whoa, man." He said, "Oh, man, look at all these cymbals." So some young dude comes up, and was his son. He said, "Can I help you?" I said, "Man, look, I don't have no dough. I was upstairs. I'm playing with Charles Owen. Some dude came and told me to come down here and pick out some cymbals. I have no money. I don't know what's wrong with him. And I'm going to go." He said, "What did he look like?" He pulled up a picture in the magazine. You know how they had them back in the day. Pulled the magazine up, and sure enough, that was that old dude, and it was up there, somebody pasties. I said, "That's the guy that was upstairs." He said, "Yeah, man, that's my father, man." He said, "He told you to pick out cymbals?" He said, "Yeah, he told me to take what I want." He said, "Well, I think you better take what you want then. It's my dad." Well, I was in heaven. So they had some there, and I wanted a flat ride from back in the day, a flat ride with no bell. And I wanted a flat ride with a sizzle with no bell. So they had to make those for me. So I had my own kind of like, what is it called? I had my own system. In other words, they made them, to my ear. And I really appreciate that because my hi-hats are bigger than usual to cut through a big band. And I have kind of like different tones on the cymbals. It's not like all one tone. So they like kind of like incorporate. And if you listen to some of the music, you'll hear some of them are higher when I do crashes, and some of them are lower when I do crashes. When I hit the bells, king, and some of the times when the bass player is doing a real nice soft solo, you can hear the different high and low and the different bell. But the flat ride is the essence of dynamics. Nobody uses that. They'll bang through on the ride cymbals. But you need a dynamic that's low enough you can hear the chords. And that's probably because I sing and then I also play piano. You have to hear where the tempo is. And if you overblow it, that means you could rush it. You have to stay beneath the bass to make it work. And that's kind of like the essence of it. The essence of how I kind of like feel kind of like a manipulator groove. That's how I feel.
So what's your current setup?
I have my flat ride that I switch off with the sizzle. I have a 16 crash on the left. I have a 4-inch splash. I have a 22-inch ride cymbal, I have one that's pounded, and that's for like a bigger place because it kind of spreads out. And then there's hi-hats I told you about. Then I have something special. I use this with McCoy too. I have an I think it's 24-inch China type. And you don't ever really hit it hard. It's a weird kind of it's a weird thing when I set it up. People go, "Oh my God, you're gonna hit that thing!" But see, the thing is that it's they freak out. But see, this cymbal has a different kind of vibe. So I'm playing like riding tick 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 tick. We're getting ready to make a change to go to a different to a different section, like from the A section to the B section. And I just want something like just like a nice little passage thing. You go tick 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 tick, and you hit this, and it goes. Now, whoosh, now smash, now just a little nuance. Just because it's big, you don't have to hit it hard. And that's kind of like sweet. That's kind of like a sweet setup. That's just my sweet setup. I use that. It really makes me feel good. I have a cymbal thing I do playing with the cymbals, so all of them have different sounds. And then there's a 5-note thing I do with that. It's a whole they all have their own sound to harmonize with each other when I'm only playing cymbals. It's a thing. And I'm glad you asked me about the endorsements too, man, because it's a trip. The Sonar Drum Company, man, is like phenomenal. When I was there, I was sell all kinds of drums. They have 500 drums made gold hardware. I couldn't touch that. They were like special. But the ones that I have, they're made for Jack DeJohnette with copper hardware. Oh man, they're out of this world, and they're so professional. What's different about these drums is one tree. It's a babinga tree from Africa. It's denser than teak wood. What happens, they're really heavy, but what happens is mostly they have drums and they put the wood and the metal all together, but Sonar has a thing where they put rubber between all the metal that touches each other, so the drum doesn't actually ring a metal ring, it rings a tone. And another thing they do, they don't have the octagon drum key. They have something that's like a screwdriver drum key. So you can tighten smaller little adjustments to get a true tone. Because I like tones because I tune the drums to the keyboard. So it's a whole thing. So the bass doesn't vibrate the drum head. You don't get mid-range vibration if you tune the drums like in fifths. And so it's a whole different concept about the drum and the drum head and the tuning. But the Sonar has the best concept on making a professional drum that holds. And man, when you hear these things, oh God, oh my God, it just makes me create more. See, when you have the instrument that you really feel good about, it makes you create more. And man, I really appreciate that set. And the heads from Aquarian, it's a match made in heaven. And I really didn't realize at the time, because I was like in the head of how can I make the best music? Who can I play with that's really cutting edge that I could learn from? I'm more what you call a piano player drummer, organ player drummer. I mostly play with people who are, I like to call it elite or legendary. Legends in process, legends in practicing. And what happens is you learn so much more from people who are like cutting edge people. And sometimes they're people who are like, you call them one-sided because they're just focused on what they're focused on, but sometimes they reach a higher level. But I learned, and I really love the experience of being around people who are, who have practiced more than everyone else. You learn so much more.
I'm glad you brought up working with younger musicians, and that brings up the League of Extraordinary Musicians and the song "The Only Color Love."
Ooh, man, thank you for bringing that up, man. That song is very intense. First of all, I believe in the title, so we can get right past that. Everybody's got to think, but the song was written in the style of McCoy. That song and Soul of Number One written in the style of McCoy Tyner, and that is also written from the style of bebop, 58, in about 58. So with the 5-Spot, Miles, and all of those guys, and the classic era of the bebop when it was flourishing. And just the different spaces, the stops, the solos. Oh man, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that song up. I'm proud of that song. I'm really proud of the way it came out.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1.
I personally grew up as a rock guy, so I've only been getting into jazz here the last 10 years or so. And it's interesting that, jazz really isn't as popular as, rock or pop, never really was. But every musician, professional musician that you talk to in those genres love jazz, which is kind of interesting.
It's an appreciation, and it's good. It's good. It's a funny thing, and I've never been able to figure it out, man. Why it hasn't gotten a bigger popularity here in the States. It's you just never know how things happen, and jazz is the thing that's a funny stepson, I guess you could say, or a funny child. It comes directly. See, gospel. Everything starts with gospel music, then goes to blues. After blues, it was jazz. So what happens is, from the blues, you also get the baby of rock. So you have different step-off points of where different music came from. I think that's why people can relate so much to artists that play rock and play blues can relate to jazz. It's not that far apart for real. You have some rock players who can swing and play jazz. You have jazz players who can play, who can play rock. I mean, it's not like so far-fetched. The more that you practice, the more that you play, you find they love jazz just as much. You have entertainers like Rod Stewart put out a jazz CD. And he's a serious rock artist.
Exactly.
But he also really loves and appreciates jazz. He sings it. You have Lady Gaga, who sang with Tony Bennett before he died. There's musicians, you have to understand, you grow up and you listen to everything. Okay? Especially as Americans, you listen to everything. Everything's right at your fingertips. You push the button, it's another style. Push the button, it's another style. You know country. You know it if you like it or you don't like it. You have R&B, you like it, you don't like it. Easy listening, you like it, you don't like it. Your choice. It's there for you, and I think it's really a thing.
Jazz oftentimes, has some strange or pretty intricate time signatures, not your typical 3/4 or 4/4. And one that comes to mind is the song Summer Jazz. What is the timing in that?
Well, it's funny you say that. Now, first thing I'd like to say is that Summer Jazz is a unique song within itself because when I was in Africa, the rhythm I'm playing, they call that the drum orchestra. I remember distinctly when I was playing it, and I played it in a solo. And he said, oh my God, it's like 4 or 5 drummers. It's like the drum orchestra you're doing. What's happening there is I'm playing on the bass drum, sort of consistent. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and. So okay, so it's like it's different in a couple bars. Bass player's playing 1, 2, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2. Okay, now I got that set up. I'm playing on this is another funny thing. Why it's an octopus thing? I'm playing on the cymbal. Ding 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 ding, and then I'm playing on the left hand. Ding ding pop, ding ding ding, tom bomb, boom boom bong gong. Ding ding pop, ding ding gong 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 pop, ding ding gong gong with the bass drum, gong gong ba gong 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 ba gong, and then I forgot about the sock cymbal. Sock cymbals on 2 and 4. That whole thing set up, okay, is like a percussion section. We're in 4/4, so when you count, you go 1, 2, 3, 4. Ding ding, ba 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 ba, 4 ba ba. And I'm playing 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's a whole complex polyrhythmical groove. And now the horn players are playing like a serious groove. He's like, doo doo ba 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 doo ba dee do, ba doo be doo doo be da, ba doo be doo doo dee doo. It's a whole different thing. Plus that particular tune is kind of like hypnotic and therapeutic. If you check out the piano in the middle and what the guys do in the middle, he does like a roll on an acoustic piano that you usually do sustain on the organ. And he goes with the chord structure. The guys are so advanced at that age. It's really something, man. So that song's in 4/4, but it sounds like it's multi timing because I have different counterpoint on there that seems like it's not 4, but it's all 4/4. And watch what I do in a live performance. I'm going to have some people dancing on that mug. It's going to turn the joint out. They'll understand the height of entertainment that can happen. There's a barrier, man, and that shouldn't be. There's a barrier. You're up 3 feet on the stage. The rest of the folks is down there. And it's you and them. You looking at them. But there's a way that you can open it up so the barrier's opened up. More energy, more feeling, and more emotion happens when the audience gets involved. But that's not the only trick I got up my sleeve. There's a thing about being in a business for a long period of time. That's why they say nothing beats experience, because it doesn't.
I went through your discography here, and being a drummer, you don't use much electronic or programmed parts. But one that I did come across is the song you did with Wolf called El Grande Gato.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
That's you
And
playing an electronic part. That's not.
oh yeah, a lot of electronic parts on that.
Yeah, that's you playing live. That's not programmed. It's obvious.
There's another one too. That one Bear With. I'm playing all the stuff on. I'm playing all the stuff on there, and that one sounds live. I have a set. I did a session for a guy, Ovi Martin, and the guy bought a set of electric drums. These are a prototype, I call it to the Yamaha. These are prototypes, so these are really phenomenal. It's like a drum computer. So I've used it a couple times, and sound is phenomenal. Sound is phenomenal. And it has different sounds that you can layer on top of it. That's what that El Gato Grande was all about, the layering of that, of those things. But that Mr. Wolf, he is that trap boy. He can play, and that guy really, man, he has it like he has the business end covered. He has the mastering covered. He can do video, and he plays the flute and saxophone like phenomenally. He's a really talented guy. He's a talented guy, man, and a great personality. It's really fantastic working with him, man. It's really fantastic. But that song, whew, he sounds good on that.
now about the same age as your mentors back in the day, Elvin Jones and Art Blakely. Is there
That's
anyone
right.
around now that the younger cat that you're into?
Well, now see, that's a funny thing you say that. I haven't actually, and I'm quite sure there's a lot of guys. I mean, there's never a lack of talent. There's always just a lack of a way to get the talent heard. I actually haven't. I'm quite sure that there is. I wish I had a couple names on hand. No, I just don't. I haven't been on that level of seeing a lot, but I'm quite sure there are more. See, where I'm at in Philadelphia, New Jersey area, it's a drummer territory. You had Bobby Dorm that used to play with Oscar Peterson. You had Mickey Roker here. You have tons of guys here, man, could play. I mean, really, for real. I was blessed to be mentored by Elvin Jones and Art Blakey. When I was living in New York with Buster Williams, I used to sit in down at McCall's. He was at 97th and Amsterdam, and McCall's is down at the end of the corner. And I used to go down there, and that's where I met Roy Haynes. Met Art Blakey down there, and Art used to let me sit in. That's where I met Winton and everybody. And Elvin Jones, when I was living with Jimmy Garrison, he introduced me to Elvin Jones. And we were hanging, and Elvin helped me pick out. That's one of my all-time mentors, man. And so is Art. They're both like monsters, man. And he helped me pick out my first professional set of drums, the blonde set of drums, smaller set, and just phenomenal guys, man. So, and then that's my entrance into McCoy also. When I was playing with McCoy, man, it was a scary time. Well, scary for a guy like me. We're playing at the bottom line with McCoy. Lo and behold, he says to me, "Oh yeah, man, well, we're sharing the bill." So he's a man of few words. We're sharing the bill. I figured, okay, cool. We're sharing the bill, man. Here. So somebody said, "Well, who's on the other bill?" They said, "Oh yeah, Elvin's opening up for me." And I said, Elvin is playing before me? He said, "Yeah, man, you got nothing to worry about, man." I said, "Oh yeah?" So here I am into my thing. I'm like, oh man, I gotta come behind E. So I went over there and he was there, He said, "Hey man, how you doing, man? How you doing? I see you got them drums set up." I said, "Yes sir. He said, "Well, I'm going to sit out front and see how they're going to sound." I said, "Oh, damn, now he's going to sit there and look at me, too." But it was a thing, man, and it's a thing I think everybody has to come to grips with at one point or another. To perform after somebody you looked up to and mentored you, you got to stand strong, bro. You got to go for it. And trust me, with McCoy, you either go for it or go home. There's no middle. I mean, he was like, "Oh, man, come on, man," So we wore it out. I'm serious, man. I carry a towel. And not no rag, not no handkerchief. I carry a towel. Because by the time we get done, man, I've lost weight. Hey, man, when I've traveled on the road, it's in my contract. 2 dinners, 2 breakfasts. And I burn it off. I stay at 174, no problem. Them drums, man, them drums are something else again. A cardiologist said that the drummers live longer if they don't abuse themselves. Roy Haynes lasted to 96 years old, man, I think it was, and he's still doing gigs 95, 94. There's some woman called Viola somebody, and she played with an all-women's band. This woman was still doing gigs, I think they said at 106 years old. She was carrying her own drums.
Wow.
See, it's just a thing. Yeah, it's a thing. I didn't realize, but the cardiologist says that if we keep playing and we stay healthy, man, this is cardiovascular exercise. I didn't realize that. I always knew the drums would take your life if you don't watch out. But yeah, it's a serious thing, man. I didn't really know it.
What are your thoughts here on the future of jazz with the advent of AI and all that?
Well, I'm just happy I got some acoustic, organic music out before it took over. It's pretty close now. I don't know. I don't know. See, I have a funny feeling that I think AI mimics. It doesn't create. Maybe some people can use it for some things. I just don't know how it would fit in. You have to know it. Know how to create the music. So maybe it's like a picture. They can copy real well, but I don't think they can create real well. And I don't think it's really going to be able to take the place of any music, because you can change it in a split second. But AI can't. It has to wait for you to finish it before they can do it. Maybe it won't be as strong in music. I'm hoping. You see, the whole thing with the music is the human beings vibe. It's a feeling when human beings get together, and it's a spiritual connection to other human beings. So if AI does it, you may not feel it. That's where I'm coming from. You may not really feel it. They could mimic stock chords because they could read them. Because you could put, you see stock guitar chords. You stick them in there as stock piano chords. You stick them in there to play the stock chords. But if you go to play something that is not on, that you didn't stick in there, maybe it's a major key and you want to play in a minor key, and you didn't put that in there, it's not going to really be able to do that. A human being would be able to hear, oh damn, it's a minor, not a major. So you'd be able to hear with your ear, but the AI would be going along, I feel, with what you have put on the paper. It wouldn't be able to adjust, wouldn't be flexible, and you better have the key change. You better have the key changes right if you're singing. AI go one way, you go the other way. We're going to have a little problem there. So it's really what it actually turns into in the future with that, how they do that.
Well, a good example of something I think AI would never be able to recreate is the soul of Number One.
Oh, I love you madly. You're right. Absolutely. With the counterpoint, right. No. And that's the whole thing about the human being and the human function. Art Blakey used to say, you can change a split second, and it's simultaneous. What you do and what you think and how you move from moment to moment. You can't copy. AI can't follow that, and it wouldn't be warm. But we can do that.
Right.
We can do that. That's what I think is so colorful about the music.
Not only are you a master drummer, but you can also sing a little. I'd like to talk a little bit about Goodbye and Farewell.
Oh man, you heard
Brings
that?
in-
Oh man, you really take care of business, man. Oh my God, that's one of my originals, man. And it's a thing where at the end of the night, I wanted to write something, thank everybody for showing up and the warmth of them being in the crowd. And Goodbye and Farewell is let everybody know that I cherish the time we spent together. And it means so much, I'd do anything for you, you know. And then I go, farewell, you know, you make me look so good. It's just kind of like rewarding. And then the bridge is, you know, when you applaud, you know, it makes my heart feel good, you know, and I keep all the happiness deep in my heart. And when I feel weak, I dig down deep. And the memories will keep me strong. So it's like a thank you for showing up, and a thank you from my career to you for showing up. But that's a heartfelt tune. I just like to make people feel good, man. That's the reason I sing, and a lot of times I do single. jazz single, because a lot of times people can't afford. We used to work 5 days a week, man. Like, or even sometimes I call it 8 days a week, because we used to work the 7 days, and then they used to have a Sunday matinee, and it was all 4 or 5 hours. So I mean, you might as well call it another day. But it's you get a chance to play, and man, you said so many good things, and I just wanted to write a song that people would really understand. That's why I made it there. It was nice and bluesy, and it's a thing that I want to give back. Goodbye and farewell.
Goodbye. I cherished our time together. You mean the world to me. As a tear falls from my eye, yeah, yeah. Farewell. You make me look so good, yeah, yeah. I'd do anything for you. That's just how you make me feel, yeah, yeah. When you applaud, you give my heart much joy. I keep you deep in my heart. When I feel weak, I'll dig down deep. The memory of you will give me strength to speak goodbye. I hate to see you go. I think I'm gonna cry. That's just how you make me feel. When you applaud, you give my heart much joy. I keep it deep in my heart. When I feel weak, I'll dig down deep. The memory of you will give me strength to speak goodbye. Looking at you makes me feel so good, yeah. I'd do anything for you. It's just the way you make me feel. Farewell. Goodbye. Oh, yeah, yeah. Farewell. Oh, yeah, yeah. Goodbye.
what's the future of Mr. George A. Johnson Jr.? What do you got planned?
Well, man, I do have more music, and I'm waiting for an opportunity to bring the band out to a live performance. And so I'm shopping around to see if there's any real opportunities. I would probably call it Pay for Your College Education Tour, because the guys, I'm waiting for the guys, the bass player, Rio Taganaga goes to New York University, and Tyler Bullock goes to Juilliard, and Ace Williams goes to Juilliard. The school is over May 16th. So I'm not getting in the way. I don't want their parents to be PO'd at me. They still live at home. That's how young the guys are. They're in university. Well, Juilliard, you got to stay on campus for the first 2 years. But these guys are really young, man. The first time I paid the dudes for rehearsal, right? They're like, "Oh man, I gotta go, man. My dad's out waiting for me outside, man. My dad's waiting for me outside." So I give him the cash, man. He runs outside, and so the second day, I'm hurrying up, paying him 150, right? I said, "Oh, you gotta go?" He said, "No, my dad said you're paying 150 cash." He said, "He can wait." Finally getting paid for buying that bass. Man, I like to cracked up, man, when he said that, man. And then, but it's just like the newness of the younger guys. They had that really hunger of being professional and being on the record. They had that thing of I had, you practice 12 hours a day, you're finally going to college, man, for music, man, they're all into, they just wanted to unleash all of that, brand new, and man, they got to do it on my CDs, man. So I'll be getting the second one, the Moving Meditations. They said they're supposed to be sending it 14th or something. I'll see. It's good. I wanted them to have something so they could show off for the college year, because confidence-wise, realize music is quite a competitive situation when you have a lot of gifted people like Juilliard and stuff. Even though you're really, really good, there could be 10 to 15, 25 really, really, really good people too. So it's a whole year. You got to get down, so you got to have a little leverage. So I try to put it out when they're in the school year, so they can, "Oh yeah, man, look at this one I'm on, man, so and so and so, man," so, because you kind of support the guy's ego too. They're going to be carry on the legend. These guys are going to carry on the legend of jazz, man. Make no mistake. I'm blessed, man.
Before we officially leave this chat with George A. Johnson Jr., I would like to show you folks a track of his to where he plays all the instruments. So in other words, he's all over it like a cheap suit. This track is called Bear With Me, and it is from his Moving Meditation CD. Again, one last time, ladies and gentlemen, George A. Johnson Jr. Thank you, George, for your time. It was such an honor talking to you. You can find George's music as well as all the other Wolf Entertainment artists at wolfentertainment.de. Click on the catalog section where you can find all these artists and download their music. You can also stream them, which is cool, but downloading is really the only way they put money in their pockets. So please, download their music. My name is Don Bown. I'm here to remind you that music is the spice of life, so don't be so damn bland.